హరే కృష్ణ. జయ రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ గోపీ జన వల్లభ గిరివరధారీ గోపీ జన వల్లభ గిరివరధారీ యశోదానందన జనరంజన యశోదానందన జనరంజన యమున తీరావనచారి యమున తీరావనచారి రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ గోపీ జన వల్లభ గిరివరధారీ యశోదానందన జనరంజన యశోదానందన వ్రజ జనరంజన యమున తీరావనచారి యమున తీరావనచారి రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ రాధా మాధవ కుంజ విహారీ श्री श्री राधा कुंज बिहारी की, श्री श्री गौर निताय की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथ श्रीमद्भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्वन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। So, before we proceed with the later part of this chapter 11, we will take the three verses which we recited last time. We'll recite them and then we'll proceed further. Text number 10. 4, 11, 10. Sorry, 4, 11, 8. 4, 11, 8. I am not going to elaborate on this because we already discussed it last time. These are very important verses. This. We can even take 4, 11, 7 also. We'll begin with 7. 4, 11, 7. Manuruvacha Alambatsati roshena Tamodvarena papmana Yena punya jananetan Abadhistvam anagasah. Read the translation, somebody? Mike?
Lord Manu said, "My dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you are going beyond the limit by killing yakshas who are actually or not offenders."
So, two keywords you can underline in this. Tamodvarena means anger is the gateway to hell. Tamodvarena. Another word you can underline is Atiroshena. Atiroshana means disproportionate anger. Angry beyond limits, going out of control. So these two words are the key words, very important. Atiroshena and Tamodvarena. So Atirosh leads to Tamodvar. Disproportionate anger leads to, it's a gateway to hell. So we were discussing how in our everyday life also, while dealing with people, certainly we have sometimes, we are put into inconveniences by either by the stroke of destiny. Is it loud enough? Yeah? Where is the volume? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Alright? You devotees at this end can hear? Okay. Height can be increased. The height can be increased. I can. There's no. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, you see, we all become angry in the course of our life. Say you're driving a car, somebody is cutting the traffic and overtaking you and going. Your ego is certainly hurt. You become angry. Or somebody, you reserved a plate of prasadam. So you take a bath and come back and see it's missing. It is not true. Now it is easy to laugh because you finished your prasad. At the time you cannot laugh. Or morning, heavily it's raining everywhere, and you only washed one pair of clothes and you put it there, and then at 4:25 you go to check the dhoti kurta and it is missing. How wild you feel. You want to beat up the person, but you don't know whom to beat. So, actually, anger is a very common thing, everyday thing. Everybody. Generally, when you have expectation from situations, expectations from other people, that expectation leads to frustration. When expectation is not fulfilled, it leads to frustration. And the frustration leads to anger. And different people become angry to different limits. And here, Dhruva Maharaj exceeded the limit, according to the estimation of Manu. He is saying, Alam Vatsa, he is calling him, my dear boy. Vatsa is actually a very loving word. Krishna uses the word Tata or Vatsa for Arjuna. You especially call somebody whom you love, somebody whom you care for. This is actually, this word Vatsa is an empathic word. He is telling Dhruva Maharaj, I continue to treat you as my son or as my child, but at the same time I am upset by your behavior. So it's very amazing how he balances both. When we become upset with somebody, how we convey what we want to convey. Sometimes we convey in such a way that what we wanted to convey is not conveyed, and something else is conveyed to them, because we just blew off like a steam valve. Our steam valve blows off slowly like that, but it is like a cylinder without a regulator. It's blow off. So now, what is the complaint of Swayambhu Manu? You all are aware. The background is this, that Dhruva Maharaj's brother Uttama was killed by a yaksha, and Dhruva didn't know who was that yaksha who killed him. So now he's coming to the place called Alkapuri, the place of residence of the yakshas, headed by Kubera. And not just one or two, wholesale, hundreds and thousands of yakshas Dhruva is killing. Because Dhruva is in a very angry mood. He just he is almost determined to wipe out the yaksha race altogether. See, this thing happens sometimes, one family, one person from one family murders somebody from another family. Then that family people, they try to shoot all the people of this family. And sometimes they successfully do it, 8-10 people they shoot off. And then one fellow is saved and he escapes and he survives, and then he tells his sons, my forefathers were killed like this, now I expect you to take a revenge. And then his grandson will try to attack this. It just keeps going on and on like this. Even the recent bomb blasts, I heard what happened in Bombay recently. They are trying to put bombs in Gujarat areas. Gujarat people are living in certain areas in Bombay, and there only they want to put the bombs. Why? Because you all remember the old incident that took place. It was in Bhuj, is it? Godhra. These people destroyed the Rama Janmabhoomi, that mosque, and they were coming back in the train, and they were set ablaze in the train. And then those people took revenge on the Muslims by setting ablaze living Muslims, by pouring kerosene on their bodies on the roads of Gujarat. Then those Muslims took revenge, and it goes back and forth. And the impressions are so deep in people's minds, the revengeful, it's called vengeance. The vengeance is so deep, it's continuing even after many years, back and forth. Somebody has to forgive. Either of the party. Similarly here, Dhruva is now so angry that, the matter is already over. Uttama is dead already. He cannot bring him back to life. But still he wanted to take revenge. That's why he is saying, you are exhibiting atirosh. And then he is saying, tamodvarena papmana. He is saying, it's sinful. Now your activity cannot be considered dutiful, it is considered sinful. See, that's the difference between dutiful anger and sinful anger. So the dutiful or righteous anger, we can call it, righteous anger and disproportionate irrighteous anger. So Dhruva Maharaj as a king deserved to become angry, because a king should subdue the evil. If somebody is doing some wrong thing, he has to subdue it. But in the course of doing it, Dhruva Maharaj lost control. From the platform of duty, he went into platform of, papmana, sinful behavior. This is considered sinful behavior. Like for example, Ambarish Maharaj is drinking some water to break the Dwadashi. So Dhruva became angry with him. What he could have done, he could have said, hey, Ambarish, I am a guest who has come to your house. How can you eat or drink anything without offering me first? And Ambarish should have said, sorry Dhruva Samani. Okay, never mind, no problem. Now you feed me prasad. Don't do it again, okay? And then he would have gone. That's the right behavior, isn't it? But he saw from Jnana Chakshu, this fellow is drinking some water. And he came back, he said, you are not a Vaishnava, he said. He's telling Ambarish, you are not a devotee of Vishnu. He said, while a guest has come to your house, you have not fed your guest, and just see, you have drunk water before feeding a guest. It's a great aparad. So he took a big personal insult, Dhruva. Vaishnavas never should take personal insult. If somebody personally insults you, if you become insulted, that is something very serious problem. It's a serious problem. Actually, if some other Vaishnava is being mistreated, then you can become angry. If you are being mistreated, you should feel, I deserve this and much more. We should feel like that. But actually we do the opposite. If some other Vaishnava is being mistreated, we say, oh, you can do anything you want with him, but not with me. When we are being insulted, we get wild. So actually speaking, we should feel wild if some other Vaishnava is mistreated, or somebody is speaking ill of another Vaishnava. We have to become like fire. But in Dhruva Samani's case, what he did, he took personal insult. Now you offended me by drinking water and ignoring me as a guest. So That was inappropriate actually. First of all, the very anger is inappropriate of Durvasa Muni. And adding to that, he plucked hair and threw it on the ground and created a huge demon to kill. If somebody drank little water, can you kill him for that? That is called Atirosh. And also, Shastra said drinking water is breaking fast and not breaking fast. Simultaneously. In one sense, Ambarish was half right and Durvasa Muni was half right. If Ambarish is punishable, then Durvasa is equally punishable also. Isn't it? So, it's foolishness to become so disproportionately angry. And because Durvasa Muni, although he was a mystic yogi, he had great powers and all, but because he acted sinfully, Sudarshan Chakra started chasing him after that. So that was also Papana. Here also, this is also Papana. Arjuna killing millions of soldiers. Is it Papana or not? Why? This is Krishna's plan. Actually, Krishna had to incite anger in him. Hey, please become a little more angry. And Kauravas. Actually, at one time even Bhima was nodding the head for stopping the war. And Krishna was surprised. He said, Bhima, are you Bhima only? How can you not take revenge on this Kauravas? So, Lord had to incite anger in Arjuna to fight the Dharma Yuddha. It was a Dharma Yuddha. So it was perfectly justified battle. And a battle that is ordered by Krishna himself. Ordered by Krishna. So that anger is justified anger. That's not sinful. Now, Hanuman becoming angry on... you all can move that side more. Here there's a lot of place. I can go a little behind also. Some more devotees can come here. From that side, they are not getting enough place. Can move a little bit. See, once Radhanath Maharaj was telling, when you exhaust all the place you have, then Krishna will give you a bigger place. So Hanuman, when Hanuman became angry, see, here comes a very important point. You all know Hanuman wanted to do a bonus service to Ram after doing everything. So you all know, with the tail which was set on fire, he went all around Lanka and burned the whole of Lanka, you see. But then after burning Lanka, Hanuman lamented. Because suddenly he realized, I have burnt whole Lanka, but what about Sita? Maybe she also must have got burnt in the fire. And then he looked back. He said, let me go to Ashoka and immediately check whether she is alive. Because if Sita is dead, and if I go and give news to Ram that Sita is dead, Lord Ram would immediately die on the spot. If Ram dies, then Sugriva will die. If Sugriva dies, then all monkeys will die. Lakshman will die. And Bharat, Shatrugna, everybody will die. Now what late, I will also die. He was very sad. But then fortunately when he went and saw Sita was very safe, the Ashoka was unaffected. The whole place was safe. Then he was very happy. But then Hanuman cursed his own anger. He said, just see this anger which arises from mode of passion. He was cursing it. He was cursing himself. But did Ram criticize Hanuman for his anger? Ram glorified him. He glorified this act of Hanuman as a chivalrous act of putting fire everywhere. This teaches us another lesson. Even if one is transcendently angry, then it is always best for one to feel remorse. That I could have done it in an alternative way, better way. Hanuman's anger was transcendental. Still, Hanuman calls it as mundane. Although it wasn't mundane actually. But it is better for one to be cautious while becoming angry. We should never justify our anger. Yeah. So, Dambo Darpa Abhimanascha Krodaha Parushamevacha. There he is talking about mundane anger. The 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Which is, so these are the 6, we call them as roughnecks. Roughnecks means like rowdies. 6 rowdies who always walk together on the road, wearing some kerchief on their neck. putting hands on each other's shoulders. Who are they? Damba, show bottle. Dambo darpo abhimanascha krodha parushyameva ajnanam cha abhijatasya partha sampadam asurim, Krishna says. So the harsh speech, the pride, the conceit, he says also this krodha, anger, ignorance, they all actually, Krishna summarizes them all to be demoniac quality. But the anger can be divine, like Narasimhadeva's anger is divine. One devotee told Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I cannot control my anger, I become very angry on devotees. Prabhupada said, whenever you become very angry, you take darshan of Lord Narasimha. He is million times more angry than you. When you see his anger, your anger will be gone. So generally we can assume safely that our anger is generally mundane. It's better not to assume it as transcendental. But But when we can consider it transcendental, if somebody insults you, you don't feel anger. But if some other devotee is offended, you feel anger. That means you are on the right platform. You are actually more concerned about other Vaishnavas not to be offended. So here also, Dhruva Maharaj was perfectly fulfilling his duty in becoming angry on yakshas. There was nothing wrong for a king like him to become angry. But the mistake happened when the rosh became ati rosh. And anger became excessive anger. Then it is sinful. See, in anger, just because somebody is junior to you or subordinate to you, if you just dominate them to show your superiority, that I have a post, I have a position, I can dance on your head, that is actually mundane anger. And if somebody wants to, just because somebody is younger, you can crush them to powder. That anger is unjustifiable anger. But the anger, if somebody has committed a mistake, like Indra told Krishna, a father and mother may chastise a child, or a guru may chastise a disciple, or a king may chastise the unrighteous praja, he may chastise, or Krishna may chastise the demigods. So people who are custodians of religion, they owe the right to chastise. Because the mother is washing the stool and urine of the child, she can also slap the child. Sometimes she gets kisses from the child. Sometimes she slaps the child because she washes stool and urine. Similarly, Guru also cleans the sinful reactions of the disciple, is it not? By giving him diksha, by giving him shelter. Then he also has the right to chastise. He owns actually. He owns the right to chastise the disciple. If you are not taking the reactions of someone, or you are not actually in a position of being a father or representing the father, you have no right to chastise anyone. Like Prabhupada says, one should not instruct anyone who is not in the position of sons or disciples. Prabhupada says that. You cannot instruct anyone. Like Prabhupada, although he would meet many new people, he would not instruct them at all. Because we have no relationship with them. But when a person is in the position of a spiritual leader, then he has the right to instruct and guide and correct if need be, and he may show anger if need be. That anger is actually used for, like Vidura showing anger towards Dhritarashtra. Even after doing so much, you are not rectifying your attachment. Give up everything, come with me. Very strongly he spoke to him. Jadabharata is showing anger towards Rahugana. You see like that. So, or Balaram showing anger towards Romaharshana Sutta because of his misbehavior. Because Balaram is Adi Guru. All Gurus Guru. Balaram. So, these kind of anger are called transcendental anger. So, we were discussing that verse, text 7. So, in that purport, we saw punishing unnecessarily, punishing offenseless persons, and punishing without reason. 3 things. That opens path to hell. What are the 3 things? Punishing someone unnecessarily, punishing offenseless persons, and punishing without reason. Why will somebody punish without reason? Simply on an ego trip. If he's on an ego trip, he may punish without reason. Just to show his greatness. Or, somebody may punish offenseless persons. So let us recite the text number 8. Nasmat kulochitam tata karmaitat sadvigarhitam vadhoyat upadevanam arabdaste kritainasam. Read the translation, somebody.
My dear son, the killing of the sinless yakshas which you have undertaken is not at all approved by authorities, and it does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion.
Yeah. Sat, Sat Vigarhitam, that is an important word. Sat Vigarhitam means, the Sat means authorities, like the Mahajanas. Vigarhitam means it is not approved, it's forbidden actually. If any other Mahajan was in your place, he would have forbidden it. Actually, this is one thing we can ask ourselves. I became angry on somebody for this particular reason. Now, if my superiors were there, would they have become angry? That's one very easy way to assess. If my spiritual master was in my position here, would he have become angry for this act? That's a very easy way for us to know whether our anger is justified anger or unjustified anger. Like for example, somebody is a perfectionist. He wants you to do a perfect job. And because you are falling short of some perfection, he becomes wild on you. Extremely wild on you. Actually speaking, to go from a perfection from 50 to 90 and to go from 95 to 96 is almost the same energy. Will be needed. The more you go beyond 95% perfection, for every 1% it's like going 40% below 90. You see, like that. So we are living in a material world which is not a perfect place. Material world, Krishna says, it's like in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when you lit fire, there is also smoke. Some degree of imperfection will be there, which we have to tolerate. Learn to live it. Learn to live with it. Yeah, there's a saying in English, what cannot be cured must be endured. Become peaceful. Hare Krishna. People also become peaceful along with you. Good. So I will try my best. Everyone tries their best, and if things didn't work out the way we planned, okay, some degree of losses is acceptable. Even Krishna accepts it. You see, Krishna is like a, the original power generation unit, from where the electricity is, sent down the line. Like Krishna is giving it to Vivaswan, Manu Praha. So Vivaswan, Manu, Ikshvaku, all these people are like one electric post. From one electric post, power is coming to next one, third one, fourth one. And there is transmission loss. Is it not? Then what they do, they have a step-up transformer. Again that's what Krishna says, sometimes Sakale Neha Mahata Yoga Nashta Parantapa. Then what I do? Then I come again, Krishna says, to step it up to the actual truth. I do that. So in this way, in Parampara also there could be losses, sometimes there could be some misrepresentation, and Krishna is aware of it, and he's tolerating it, and then he's trying to set it right also. You can see that. Similarly, there may be some mistakes in any endeavor. No endeavor can be all perfect. So that's why he's saying that Sadvigarhitam. If the Mahatmas are here, they would not behave the way you behaved, he's saying. This type of behavior is forbidden by great religious authorities. Actually, this is what we should tell others also while advising. Any advice you give to anybody, you should say, Prabhupada would never approve of this, or your spiritual master will never approve of this, or Acharyas would never approve. And then you give some examples from Acharyas' lives. This is the best way to counsel anybody. See, if you are counseling somebody, you say, I am telling you, so hear me. No, nobody will hear you. If you say, Prabhupada is telling, Maharaj is telling, Acharyas are telling, they will say, yes. they are great souls, will surely obey. Like the people would say. That's why he is telling Manu is actually a great soul. Still he is not telling that, according to me your activity is not proper. He is not saying. What he is saying? Sad vigarhitam. Great souls would not approve of your activity. Actually, by saying like that, what happens? The ego problem also is taken care. Because I am not a great soul, I am telling you, you have to follow what I am saying. And he is putting the acharyas on the table. You hear from acharyas what they would say. Like I used to tell devotees also, whenever I corrected devotees, I would say about how Yusuf Maharaj was having great integrity, or how Srila Prabhupada acted in a certain such situation, or how Maharaj acted. That's what I would tell devotees. It's a very nice way of telling people, if you really want them to learn. And then he's also saying, Nasmatat kula uchitam. It is not kula uchitam, he's saying. Kula uchitam means what? It's not actually befitting our family. Like we can tell a person, see, you should behave like a Gaudiya Vaishnava. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava. You are coming in such a glorious parampara. How can you act in such a way? It is improper. It will bring blemish. Like if somebody is slipping from his standards of dealing with women, you can immediately quote Chota Haridas. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set a standard for all followers in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. How can you do such a thing that will bring in infamy to our parampara? Like that you can ask. So, Nasmatat kula uchitam sadvigarhitam. These two words he is using in this verse. Very important words. Then we will skip the 9th one. We can go to the 10th verse. Nayam margo hi sadhunam Hrishikeshanuvartinam Yadatmanam paragrihyam Pashuvat bhuta vaishasam. So here he is telling, somebody can read the translation please.
One should not accept the body as a self and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God.
Yeah. So he is saying, Nayam margo hi sadhunam Rishikesha anuvartinam. Rishikesha anuvarti means a Vaishnava who is worshipping Lord Rishikesha. Actually, this word Rishikesha is also very meaningful, because you should engage all your senses in Lord Krishna's service, not in satisfying your own, self sense gratificatory pursuits. That's the meaning of Rishikesh here. Rishikesha anuvartina. Which means any service that we do, it should be done for the pleasure of Krishna, not for increasing our own popularity or something. Just like one boy came and asked me after a class, Prabhuji, last 2 hours you have been speaking and so many people are hearing. What is the secret? How can I also speak like this? So others will hear. So that was the question he had after the class. So actually, the conditioned soul has a desire to do something for himself, not for Krishna. He wanted to do something for his own personal. It's called a self-aggrandizement. Because it's self-aggrandizement. So here he is saying, Rishikesha anuvartina. Devotees means they don't care about themselves. They only care for what will please Krishna. That is Rishikesha anuvartina. Naya marga hi sadhuna. This is not the path of Vaishnava sadhus, he is saying. Vaishnava sadhus don't behave like this, which means there is a likelihood that somebody who is not a Vaishnava, he can behave like this. Like Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni, he is not a Vaishnava. He was an impersonalist. And when he went to the riverside to take a bath, there is one verse which says, he meditated on impersonal Brahman, it says. He became extremely angry. And he had disproportionate anger. So, similarly, Saubhari Muni was an impersonalist. And he was trying to curse Garuda. Garuda, that he will die. So, he is saying that yes, there are some people who may become disproportionately angry. But you cannot be angry like that. Because this is not the path that is shown to us by the Vaishnava sadhus, who are Rishikeshanuvartina. There is a reason for this. The reason is, in Bhagavatam there is a verse, probably in 11th canto, I think. It says that there is a difference between material determination and spiritual determination. When one has material determination, he is able to restrain his senses and control his senses by tapasya. Then Lord Rudra can enter his heart. Because out of the 11 places given by Brahma to Rudra, the last place is what? Rudra enters the heart of those who do tapasya. So he residing in the heart of those who do tapasya, Rudra may incite anger in them because they have controlled their mind and senses by forceful means. So then Rudra may manifest himself as anger from their hearts, just like Dhruvasamani becomes angry, like that. But a Vaishnava sadhu controls his senses and mind by another route. What is the route? By developing great devotional service to Sri Radha and Krishna. So, by experiencing a great oceanic spiritual love for Krishna and the spiritual world and the devotees, then one transcends anger. So, if one has achieved a higher taste through that marg, one can be completely self-controlled. At the same time, one will not have the Rudra principle in his heart. One is free from that also simultaneously. So that's why he's saying Naya Margo hi sadhunam Rishikeshanuvartinam. How many of you experience sometimes you had a series of succession of engagements, one after another, what. At that time somebody comes to talk to you or somebody comes to, complain to you something. You blow off like a soda bottle which is open. How many of you experience of that? Yeah, experience, right? Yeah. That is why, especially when you have too many engagements, you have to be a little extra alert. Because sometimes you feel little tension. You feel tension as if somebody is chasing you. Actually, when you do a lot of good work, you certainly get excitement. There's a pleasant sense of excitement that I am not useless and I can use myself in Krishna service in some way. I can do something for Krishna. You feel happy also. But beyond a certain limit, what happens? You get overworked. And then you are like very hot. And then somebody does something, immediately the soda bottle open, it blows off. Like that. So, he is saying that one has to remember these things. Nayam Margo hi sadhunam Rishikeshanuvartinam Paragrihya Pashuvad Bhutavaishasam. We discussed that, so I will not discuss now that point on Bhutavaishasam. I discussed last time. Let us recite the text number 11. Sarva Bhutatma Bhavena Bhutavasam Harim Bhavan Aradhyapaduraradhyam Vishnostat Paramam Padam. Read the translation, please. Give the mic to him.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets. But you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as supreme abode of all living entities.
See, here he is saying one should worship Lord Krishna as the supreme abode of all living entities. The word all living entities is very important here. Why? That includes the yakshas also. As you are sheltered under Lord Vishnu's lotus feet, yakshas are also sheltered. So don't think you are the only one sheltered. They are also sheltered under Lord's lotus feet. So they should not be envied. They should be protected. See the last para of the purport. Prabhupada says, even though Dhruva could have argued that as a Kshatriya it was his duty to fight with the enemy, he was informed that since every living entity is a residence of Supreme Lord, and can be considered a temple of the Lord. The unnecessary killing of any living entity is not permitted. Sarva bhutatma bhavena bhutavasam harim. So bhutavasam, every body, everybody's body is a temple. Like so many cows are being killed. The cow's body is also a residence of the Lord. So one cannot hurt anyone's body. So here you are killing wholesale, he is saying. Read the next translation, text number 12. Only the translation, somebody.
Because you are a pure devotee of Lord, the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised. Why have you undertaken such an abominable task?
Yeah. So the most important word is this exemplary behavior he is saying here. So you are supposed to show example to all society. Yata Raja, Tata Praja. So, but you are not setting a good example. He is saying it's very. Actually, you can see Swayambhu Manu's speech is very encouraging speech also. He is not only telling him what the fault is, but he is also telling him what is the right conduct, right behavior. Because if you only tell the fault, then one doesn't know what is to be done. That means, what do you tell me? You want me to go to hell or what, you will ask, isn't it? So you need to know the right behavior. That also he is telling, isn't it? Like, Satyaprakash Maharaj says, once he was a secretary of Prabhupada, so he typed a letter and he sent it to some Gurudas Prabhu in India. And then Gurudas Prabhu replied back saying that, Prabhupada, in your letter you are saying that you are attaching a carbon copy of something, and but there is no carbon copy. Prabhupada was surprised. And he called Satyaprakash Maharaj and said, did you attach a carbon copy or not? And then he checked and said, oh, sorry Prabhupada, the copy remained with me only. Although I sent the letter to him, at that time, sometimes you all experience, sometimes in email also you say, I am attaching such and such file. And we forget to attach it. So some of our managers also do that sometimes. So I wrote back to manager, Prabhu, you are free from all attachments. You are so free that you forgot to attach. So he was. So Prabhupada asked him. Then he said, "Yes, Prabhupada, I am sorry. It was my mistake. I didn't attach it." And Prabhupada became very angry. He said, "How can one do such a foolish thing? That you are writing a letter saying that I am attaching carbon copy and you are not attaching. How can you do such a thing?" And then Sadhguru Maharaj was a very young and new secretary to Prabhupada. He immediately broke down tears. Sorry, Prabhupada. He cried like that. And then he took his kerchief. All that he did. And slowly he saw Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, how can you do such a thing? Is it not a foolish idea to do such a thing? Again he cried again. And Prabhupada appeared merciless. Wondering. Then somehow the super soul in his heart gave him a clue. So he said, okay Prabhupada, now I will write to him saying that it was my mistake, not Prabhupada's mistake of writing this letter. Although I made Prabhupada sign and I didn't send the attachment, now I'll write to him that Prabhupada didn't commit mistake, I committed mistake, number one. And number two, I will attach the carbon copy now this time, surely without forgetting. And I will send it to him. Prabhupada said, yes, that's what I want you to do. Then Prabhupada became cool. So, when we commit a mistake, we have to rectify. Otherwise, what is the use of just lamenting? Lamentation is for Shudra. We should regret and rectify immediately. The purpose of regret is to rectify. So, here that is why Swami Manu is telling him, okay, you have acted in such a way, but it is not exemplary, it's not proper. He is saying, I am surprised. Why have you undertaken such a abominable task? So, this means actually the position in which you are posted is a very serious one. You are actually the king. You are supposed to lead all the people. You cannot do such a thing. You see, the king's position is such a delicate position. Like you see, Lord Krishna, when he was a king, there was a rumor that Krishna stole the Shamantaka jewel. Actually, Krishna never had the Shamantaka jewel at all. It was taken by one Shatadhanva, and his brother took it to the forest, putting it on his neck. And when he went for hunting, he was attacked by a lion and killed, and the lion was carrying that Shamantaka jewel. Later on it was taken by Jambavan and all that. So when Krishna heard that there is some rumor on my name, immediately he went to forest and found out the Shamantaka jewel, brought it back, and he handed it over to the owner. Now somebody may say, why Krishna is having so much image problem? Now somebody can ask like that, no? But a king should worry about what people think of him. It is the duty of the king. See, Lord Ramachandra was very worried that somebody is talking ill of his wife. Like we say, Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. Actually, a king or a queen cannot be a subject of suspicion to anybody. Sannyasi alpachidra, sarvaloka guy. A sannyasi also, one in the renounced order, should be spotless in his character. Nobody can talk that he has loose connections with women or he is misappropriating money. Nobody should be able to talk. Actually, even though a person's conduct may be pure, he should worry about external behavior also. For example, somebody may say, I treat this Mataji as my sister. Or somebody may say, Prabhu, I just took the money and kept in my locker and I used it only for Krishna service. I never used it for buying something from Govindas and eating, And somebody may use it for Krishna service. Still, if people suspect that you are misspending money or misappropriating money, it's useless. You see, you should be above suspicion. Okay. So Lord Rama also took a very heavy action. You all know, by banishing Mother Sita to forest, and Krishna also immediately sorted out the rumor by going to forest. So Lord Rama and Lord Krishna both are showing us by their example how important it is for the king to be spotless, because the praja will imitate the king. People will say Yata Raja Tata Praja. If king does something wrong, then they will also imitate. Actually, I saw it happening. Sometimes I scold devotees by becoming angry with some people. So I found that some devotees are using this technique. They go somewhere else and say that, I am your senior, I am supposed to correct you. So actually, not that they are senior, they are correcting. They have uncontrolled anger, and they say that, I am correcting you due to my interest to see you. See you corrected. You see, people imitate. That's why here he is saying that you have to show exemplary behavior. So I am therefore surprised how you have undertaken such an abominable task. So he is making Dhruva think very loudly about his own behavior. See, this is a duty of a superior. Actually, when can you consider counseling to be successful? If somebody has committed a blunder or a mistake. So our talking to them should be such that you should be able to evoke repentance in their hearts. You should be able to evoke rectification for the mistakes they committed. And they should feel that I will never commit this mistake again in future. I feel very sorry to have done it. I will not repeat it. And I feel so bad about having done it. I want to become pure. How I have let down my superiors. How great are my superiors and how fallen am I. And then they should be eager to go back to superior and say, Prabhu, you told me to rectify this. Here I am. I have completely rectified my mistakes. Are you happy with me now? This is the right relationship between superior and subordinate. Not that the superior, is correcting subordinate in such a way that subordinate says, okay, from today onwards, my relationship with you is finished. Like children do, like this. You know this? Oh, you are so angry with me, Prabhu? They put like this. So that is no good relationship. Actually, that's why the presentation is very important. Like I was trying to correct a devotee, and over a period of time, the devotee felt very choked when I was trying to correct him. He was telling me that you are giving me surgery without anesthesia. You understand what it is? You have no experience of that. So But I said, I am so angry with you, I'm not able to find out where is anesthesia now. I want to give the surgery immediately. So later on when I went to my spiritual master, so he was telling me, actually, whatever upset mood you may have, whatever anger you may have towards anybody, he said you have to reserve yourself and hold on yourself. Hold on for some time and wait for an appropriate moment to get that person. And first of all, you have to make him receptive. If he's not receptive, your giving is no use. So you have to give him, and he should be willing to listen. If he's not willing to listen, like for example, like I saw one picture, your husband and wife, they are having a fight. So the wife says, I don't want to hear you anymore. So this fellow is catching her hair and shouting into her ears. I am telling you, and she is putting earplug or something. That doesn't help at all, you see. So unreceptive person cannot be given good instructions at all. Then my spiritual master told me something that was eye-opener for me. You know what he said? He said, as soon as someone has a verbal battle with you, he has lost respect for you. And such a person can never be instructed by you. He should be instructed by someone whom he thinks loves him or whom he loves. Then you have to give the instruction through that person. Then only he will be willing to receive. Now he has put a block, he will not receive instructions from you because he's afraid of you or whatever. He's fearful of you, afraid of you, whatever. So then you have to give it to somebody. Basically we should desire a change of heart for that person. Okay, if he has to change of heart, what I should do? Either I tell him or somebody else tells him. Ultimately he brings about a change, and then we are happy that yes, he has brought about the change. So here you find Swambhavanu very maturely, very expertly speaking. Basically he's telling Dhruva, you should actually be an ideal example for everybody. Next verse is the climax verse. All of you repeat. Titikshaya karunaya maitrya chakila jantushu samatvena cha sarvatma Bhagavan samprasidati. In the previous verse he said, you are not behaving in an exemplary way. And now he is telling what is exemplary behavior in this verse. Yeah, read the translation. Mike.
The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality.
Read the purport.
It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse.
Yeah. So, who is the devotee in the second stage of devotional service? Madhyamadikari. So, when we are growing to the Madhyamadikari stage, we have to exhibit these qualities: tolerance, mercy, friendship and equality, from Kanishta to Madhyama. See, one difference between Kanishta and Madhyama, Kanishta goes by the externals, Madhyama goes by the substance. That's one main difference. Like, Madhyamadikari can see the essence behind external. That is one speciality. And Madhyamadikari also is supposed to be talented enough to break a lesser rule for a greater rule. He knows to adjust the religious principles according to Desh Kala Patra, Desha Kala Vibhagavet. That kind of adjustment he knows. For example, Dhruva Maharaj became angry, he performed his duty of killing the yakshas. Then he should have realized that, yes, anyway, one yaksha killed my brother, why to kill everybody? He could have thought and he could have shown the mercy and the friendship and all that, tolerance. Yeah. And then below, somewhere in the middle of the para is saying, sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show compassion, mercy, he should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone by constitution person is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, a devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. And then below is saying, his general view should be to see every living entity as a part of Supreme Lord. See, here Prabhupada is saying mercy means distributing Krishna consciousness. Actually, this is an easier form of mercy. There is one more difficult form of mercy, which is to learn to be merciful to devotees. Actually, to be merciful to outsiders is very easy for us. Go out and distribute books. Go out and give big lectures, it's very easy. But when a devotee commits mistakes, we become more angry. How many of you feel, if outsider does mistake, you can tolerate, but a devotee commits same blunder, you become more angry? Correct? Yeah. That is a greater problem for us, isn't it? ऐसे devotee कैसे कर सकता है? Our Radha Gopinath was telling, when he had become a devotee, when he was in Bangalore, when he was telling, many of his friends used to drink liquor and smoke and everything. So in one of the parties, Radha Gopinath had gone also. So his friends, they had liquor in one hand, but then they told him, hey, you are a, तुम भगवान का हो, तुम कोई पीना नहीं चाहिए. He said, no, I'm पीने के लिए नहीं आया हूँ. He said, फिर भी हम बोलते हैं पीना नहीं चाहिए. हाँ, हम लोग बिगड़े हुए हैं. We are spoiled people. But you are a God's man. You should not do such a thing. So even karmis have big expectation from devotees. If you are a devotee, we can do. Like imagine if a devotee is found to be copying in an exam, YouTube Brutus, then false Caesar. You see, you read in that Shakespeare's, isn't it? I think it comes in Hamlet or somewhere. He says, YouTube Brutus. He says, if you can do, my lord, अभी कलयुग आ ही गया अभी. तुम जैसे लोग करते हो. If you can do, my lord, I cannot believe. So people have a very high expectation from devotees, undoubtedly. And that is why when devotees are found to be lacking integrity, then people become very angry, and we also become angry. But we are ready to tolerate people who are not devotees. That is why this mercy is not only for outsiders, while dealing with devotees. Sometimes, when a newcomer comes, one devotee goes and runs and brings a sweet rice, another devotee goes and runs and brings some halwa. Two people are pulling him in two directions. You eat halwa, you eat sweet rice. He gets a lot of amazing love he gets. But then after he becomes an inside devotee, he doesn't get any special treatment. Like, in our voices we used to send Mysore Pak and Badushe and tell the boys, this is only for newcomers. Isn't it? So this is not a devotee prasad, because it's made from outside, we offered and gave. So one boy was telling me, Prabhuji, I don't know why did I come in. If I was outside, I can keep eating Mysore Pak. Isn't it? So, actually, just as we are merciful to people who are outside, we also have to show some mercy to people who are inside, because these people are dedicated devotees. That is also daya. They also need compassion. Just like we have camps and everything, we do for the devotees also. Because people have to be happy. So, one of Radhanath Maharaj used to say, a successful temple means you should be able to see a devotee happy. And better than a happy devotee, he said, is a group of happy devotees. He said, all of them respecting one another, bowing down to one another, praising one another, congratulating and appreciating one another, grateful to one another, and being thankful for the association they are getting. In the absence of a devotee, another devotee should be able to gratefully appreciate the other devotee. That is the right standard, actually. In the absence of another devotee, a devotee should not be speaking blasphemy about the other devotee. So this is the ideal standard. So, titiksha is saying, titiksha means tolerance. See, this is not like the tolerance of a grass. Grass is standing erect, You put your boots like this, and then you walk ahead, comes back. You've seen that? That is not titiksha. Sometimes, for example, you behaved humbly with another devotee, who was upset with you or something. Later on you wonder, why was I humble unnecessarily? I should have given a punch on the nose. That is not titiksha. That was temporary tolerance. Sometimes we temporarily tolerate. Why? Because we are a little weaker than the other person. So we temporarily tolerate. That is not titiksha. Titiksha means you tolerated and you don't regret for tolerating later on. You tolerated it. Like Krishna says, Tams titikshasva bharata, he says. Titiksha, karunaya, maitriya, cha akila jantushu, he is saying. Akila jantushu means all living entities. to all living beings, not only to human beings, even to animals and birds and other creatures also. One should be merciful, friendly. And samatvena, equality, is very important. Being equal to all. Like Pandita Samadarshinaha. So we are going ahead. Read the translation of next verse.
One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves ultimate spiritual bliss.
Unlimited spiritual bliss. He achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. See, now he is giving him the solution to his anger. Okay, you have somehow or other become atirosh, and you become overly angry. Now what you should do? You should actually work for pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should try to satisfy him. Then you can become free from gross and subtle material conditions. You see, Brahmaji also, at one point of time in creating this universe, because sometimes the creation of the universe is a huge project. In the course of creation, he became karmadhi, he says. Karmadhi means he attained materialistic consciousness. Karmadhi, the buddhi became brashta. The buddhi became gramya buddhi. Gramya buddhi means materialistic mind. See, if you associate too much with materialistic people, then your speech, your behavior, your thinking process, everything will become materialistic. You can see that. Like, boys are living in the hostel, they pick up so many vulgar words, living with other boys. Similarly, even we, if we read too many books other than Prabhupada's books, we may pick up some unwanted materialistic vibrations by reading other literatures. So, that is actually called karmadhi. Now, in the course of our preaching and propagating and expanding this movement, we may come across so many vicious elements, and that is why asatsanga tyag Vaishnavachar. He says, that's the very first thing. He said, Stri Sangi Eka Sadhu Krishna Abhakta Ar. He's saying that. So, one can get karmadhi by, karma became, Brahma became proud of his work, or he became contaminated by his work. And then the intelligence becomes contaminated also by that. Similarly, here, another example is of Indra. Indra was in charge of the waters. He was supposed to give rains, but then suddenly at one point of time he thought he's autonomous. He forgot Krishna completely. So forgetting the upward connection, what happened? Indra was only lording over the living entities on this earth. And then his behavior became erratic. When he had erratic behavior, then Krishna lifted Govardhan hill after that, to prove to him that, you are not autonomous. There is somebody above you. That's why here, Dhruva Maharaj is being reminded by Swayambhu Manu that, my dear Dhruva, don't think you are living for your satisfaction. You are living for whose satisfaction? Whose? Krishna's satisfaction. Yeah. Oftentimes we forget this. We generally think, over a period of time, I should be satisfying my senses. Somebody has to tell us, Prabhu, you are supposed to satisfy your superior senses. You have to satisfy Krishna's senses. You see? You are working for pleasing somebody. It's not that you have to please yourself. Actually, when we think, I have to please myself, that is autonomous. Autonomous means we think there is nobody above me. I am all in all. I am independent. So here he is telling Dhruva, you are not all in all. There is a God above you who is witnessing your killing of the yakshas also. And he is not happy with you. Which means you are not pleasing him. So you have to please him. That means what? You stop this activity. So you can please him. Like that is right. So in the first paragraph of the purport, last line, to become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. Such a beautiful sentence. Some lines of Prabhupada's purport are golden sentences. See, to become free from material existence means, some of us may say, to go back home, back to Godhead, we may say. But Prabhupada doesn't say that. What he says? To become free from the influence of material nature. Which means, all of us are like Vyadigrasta, conditioned living entities. What is our disease? See, when the living being comes into this world, he becomes covered over by the three modes, Rajaguna, Tamaguna, Sattva-guna, especially lower two modes, Rajaguna and Tamaguna. So the diseased condition creates trouble for us and trouble for others also. Like for example, a person who becomes extremely angry or extremely lusty, extremely greedy, so he suffers or others suffer? What do you think? Both suffer actually. He also suffers and others also suffer. That is how all living entities, they give trouble to each other because of this kind of conditionings, you see. Yeah. So when you become free from the effect of three modes, then you are called as a Nivritta Gunavritti. Nivritta Gunavritti, that's the word she used, Kunti Maharani used. When you become a Nivritta Gunavritti, then what? Then you are a healthy person. Then Vishwam Purna Sukhayate, the whole world will be a happy place for you. Because actually you don't have to go to spiritual world. Even in material world, you can be living like a person in the spiritual world. Provided what? Provided free from three modes. If you are able to live free from effect of three modes, these three modes are like acid rain. Our bodies are having bruises, burns all over the body, everywhere. Because so that is why when you chant the holy name and study Bhagavatam, it's like holding an umbrella. When you take the umbrella, then you can save yourself from this rain that's burning your body. So the effect of three modes should be reduced. So in that connection, Uddhava Gita, Lord Krishna is telling to Uddhava, Swabhava Shauryam Swabhava Vijayam, he is saying. Swabhava Vijayam means if you can conquer your lower nature, that is real Shurata, he is saying. That is real Shurata means what? The real heroic nature in you is what? Not to eat 20 idlis. Some people keep eating competition. You don't become a hero by eating a lot. How do you become hero? By conquering your lower nature. Now all of you ask yourself secretly within your own heart, what are your lower natures? Then you don't have to tell anybody. You can tell yourself, these are my lower natures. Like I have a tendency to lose temper. I have a tendency to become lusty. I have a tendency to become proud. I have a tendency to always talk about myself only. I have a tendency to delight some joy in seeing others suffering or getting troubled. I have a tendency to belittle others. So in this way we all can write down in our diary, these are my lower natures. If you can conquer those lower natures, then you are a real Shura. You have the real, you are really great. Like that with the, and then Krishna tells how can you do that? He's saying you post yourself in Sattva Guna, he's saying. Sattva Guna, mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is very conducive for rapid progress in spiritual life also. It's like, say I want to fly from here to Calcutta, so first I have to go to the airport, then I can take a plane to fly, isn't it? So mode of goodness is like the airport, because from there you can go to fly to transcendental platform. From here you cannot fly. From Rajaguna, Tamaguna we cannot fly to transcendental plane. So we have to go to Sattva-guna. So if you carefully observe all our ISKCON activities from morning to night, they are all Sattva-guna activities. First of all, rising early itself is Sattva-guna. Because most guys must have been sleeping till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. So we rise very early in the morning, taking bath after going to bathroom and all that. Wearing fresh dress every day, not wearing the old dress. The second time, eating ahara should be also Shuddha. Ahara Shuddha, Sattva Shuddhi, Sattva Shuddha, Dhruva Smriti we say. So there are 10 items in Sattva Guna. If you can read in Uddhava Gita, you will find there are 10 items like the time of the day. Morning time is Sattva Guna, afternoon is Rajaguna, evening is Tamaguna, like that. So the time of the day, the place, like that. He gives 10 items, and Krishna is telling Uddhava, my devotees should try to stick to Sattva Guna, and when they stick to Sattva Guna and practice Krishna consciousness, they will get 28 Vaishnava qualities, he is saying there. He is giving a long list there. So by doing that, we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we can gain freedom. We can become, Prabhupada says, we can become free from three modes. Initially we are in Sattva-guna, then we can go to Shuddha Sattva. Yeah. In the next paragraph he is saying, Samprasanne, being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself is to be satisfied. See, we don't have to worry whether I am satisfied or not. If Lord is satisfied, it's wonderful. Yeah. And then in the last part of the purport, 4th or 5th line from bottom, everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries to only to satisfy the Lord. See, the devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging in senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. Wonderful. You know, one devotee came to me in another temple when I went. So he said, I am very disturbed in my mind. That's how he began. Prabhuji, I am feeling very. He was like a many years devotee, old devotee. And I asked him, what is the cause of your disturbance? He said that in the management I have to work with another devotee who is also slightly senior to me, maybe a couple of years senior to me. But he said, we always have a tussle. The relationship is not smooth. The chemistry doesn't match. That is a problem. So I was telling him some things from Bhagavatam. So after that he said, actually I can understand that this disturbance which has arisen in my mind is due to my own misbehavior. He said. I shook hands with him. I said, congratulations. This is really you are really advanced devotee. Because the disturbance that we get in our mind is due to our own misbehavior. We cannot blame anyone. Then he told me, now after hearing Bhagavatam, I feel it's like a burn all over a burn. It was very nice. He said, now I'll go back and study Bhagavatam. He said, my behavior became erratic because for some time I did not read and chant properly. My services were too many. Now if I read and chant properly, my behavior will be properly adjusted. So, sometimes we try to do things to satisfy ourselves, not satisfy our superiors. That attitude will cause enormous trouble. Actually, we have to know our jurisdiction. What is my jurisdiction? Like Maharaj says, my jurisdiction is only the sinful living entities. Is it not true? He cannot touch pious living entities. He cannot touch Krishna's devotees. Similarly, like Brahma was scolded by Lord Narasimha. What for? Why did you give a benediction beyond what is there in your pocket? How can he give? Like sometimes a person wants to show his wife that I have a lot of money I can spend. Then he finds his pocket is empty. Isn't it? Don't try to show off that you are a great soul. Darshanam na phalam mama. He said, you got my darshan, so it will not go in vain. I am also not an ordinary demigod. I am the best amongst all demigods. And by the way, for your information, I am the first-born created living entity in the whole creation, son of the Supreme Lord. And I am also no less. Hum bhi kisi se kam nahi. So I can give you Ashirvad. Like that he was telling. And in the course of having this consciousness, he ended up giving him more than what he is allowed to give. Yeah. How many of you have experienced? Can anybody share an experience if it is not too painful for you? That sometimes you, in order to please one of your subordinates, you promised something to them, later on it was denied by your superiors. And then you are biting your tongue after that. I'm sorry, now how will I go and tell him? Anybody has experience of that? Of course, many have experience, but nobody will be able to say. Yeah? Yeah? Mike? Mike is coming to you.
When I was doing my project, there was projector cord which was lacking with my professor. I told in my voice, there is projector, we have cord also, I'll bring it, and I told him I'll bring it, don't worry. And I went, then I asked my superiors, then they told that it is for devotional purposes, not for our own sake. It was too painful. Prabhuji, please give this one time. because I have given him a word, but I had to bite my tongue because it was not allowed for me. But that time Prabhuji never give a word like this without asking.
Brilliant. One Haribol for Kiran Prabhu. That's a nice example of this. Huh? Yeah. Yes? Saurabh Prabhu as an example.
Once we were like having management other things in the preaching and everything. So I invited a very senior devotee for class, for first year class. So my superior, he was like, I didn't consulted with him. So then he told that, yeah, we cannot invite this devotee for our class. We cannot invite him. So then I told Proji, he's like very senior devotee, and I have a very good relation with him. How can I now tell him now not to come for the class? Then somehow Proji told that you somehow convince him or something. Then I have to tell Proji like our exams are there, the devotees have exams, so we cannot.
Smartly adjusted the situation. Huh? Very good. These examples are examples where these devotees have innocently done, but sometimes we do things to satisfy our own false ego. Like sometimes you go and ask somebody, my son or daughter has to be admitted in engineering college, can you help me? I know MLA, MP, everybody. Then he'll take his mobile and say, I will try to put a call to Prime Minister of India. Just a minute. Heck yeah, and they'll be asking in front of you. And you will think he must be a very big person. And then he tells you, I know Prime Minister of India, he says. He may be knowing PM, but PM may not know him. So, sometimes people want to show off that they have big contacts, is it not? If somebody does like that, then they are trying to please their own ego, is it not? Here, Swami Bhavan is telling Dhruva, don't try to do something to please your own ego. Something which is not in your jurisdiction, don't do it. Did you create all these yakshas? You have the ability to create them, and how can you destroy them? And also the Lord, Supreme Lord is the source of all creation. Did you take His permission? Without His permission, you are doing something on your own. So remember that we are all living here to satisfy Supreme Lord. Actually, none of us is a hero or heroine in this world. Krishna, Radha and Krishna, they are the real hero and heroine. So we all are supposed to contribute the little part of our talent, what Krishna has given us. I give my talent, you give your talent, all of us put our talent, and then ultimately it's offerable to Krishna. So for their pleasure we are living. Sometimes you see in a king's court, there are dancing girls, you see. Or sometimes there are bards who sing. Or sometimes there are jokesters, who joke. So all of us are, some of us are jokesters of Krishna. Some of us are dancing girls of Krishna. Some of us are bards for singing His glories. We should think like that actually. Each of us actually, we are all meant for His pleasure. We are not the pivot. We are not the center. If we think I am the center, then the problem begins. From there the problem begins, you see. You see, I was hearing a beautiful pastime that when once in Vrindavan the sun became very hot. But the sun becomes hot, why? To give service to everybody in Vrindavan. And then immediately everybody discussed in Vrindavan, how can we serve Krishna? It is so hot today. Then a puff of air wind started blowing. And Yamuna said, hey wind, please take some water particles. And then there was a bunch of colorful, fragrant flowers in the garden. They requested the wind, if it is not too late, can you please take some of our pollen, which is very fragrant. So son of Nanda will feel very happy, please take it. So he picked up some pollen also, he picked up some water particles, and the breeze went, and it went round and round Krishna's body and touched Krishna's body. And the chill wind pleased Krishna's body so much. Krishna felt very happy. Now, if you see, neither the flowers told the wind, please take my signature. Please make sure you tell Krishna about my name, that I gave you this. Nor did Yamuna say that. So, actually, devotee wants to please Krishna, whether the devotee is recognized or not recognized. Your name comes there or it doesn't come. In big shot people, if their name is missed out in the list announced on the stage, they make a big hue and cry. Isn't it? How can you told VK Patil, MK Patil, NK Patil, but BK Patil you forgot? How can I miss? Next time I will not give you donation. And then this fellow said, sir, I thought all Patels are same. How can I think like that? I am BK Patel, special. Sir, next time I will announce your name first. Okay, now I will give you donation, no problem. So people have ego problem. Because people think I am the center, you see. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the center. Everybody is meant to satisfy him. See, this is the beauty of Bhagavatam. It keeps reminding us, my dear friend, you are not the enjoyer, you are cooperator. Prabhupada said, my intelligence and your cooperation. Not your intelligence and my cooperation. You are supposed to cooperate with the spiritual master. Not that you are independently running here and there and Guru has to chase behind you. See, that was only done in the neophyte stage. For example, a small baby, a mother is taking the milk rice or something. Beta, please eat, and he is going to this room, that room. Mother runs behind. You have seen that? She picks him up and shows the moon. Even Yashoda does it with Krishna also. Look at the moon. Child saying, puts the food in the mouth. But when the child grows, then he will go behind the mother for food. Is it not? Similarly, in the neophyte stage, Guru runs behind disciple. And mature stage, disciple should run behind Guru. Like, that's expected actually. But if an unsurrendered disciple means Guru may have to still run behind the disciple. Still. So, we should try to please Krishna and satisfy the Lord, Supreme Lord. Then we become free from gross and subtle coverings.
Hare Krishna, there is some good number of devotees who are on the staircase and outside. If some devotees can just little bit squeeze in.
Actually, they can come this way like this.
Except the camera portion, if you can just try to squeeze in, keep your notebook on your laps. There are devotees who have 1.5 hours just stood in the staircase. Please come closer to each other so more devotees can fit in.
And then the next text 15. See, now he is giving him a broad picture of the whole universe. Read the translation, text 15.